So the fifth pillar is sleep.
Oh man,
Is sleep important?
way more important than I used to think. I mean, we went to medical school. We went to residency. I mean, I'll sleep when I'm dead, type philosophy. No time for sleep.
That's been driven in me all my
Yeah.
life. I mean, the early bird gets the worm. What
Yeah.
other, one-liners are out there?
I don't know. I don't know. Just in the back of your mind, that everything that you've been told is lazy and sloth, and like, oh, why are you sleeping in, or why are you going to bed early?
Yeah.
You're a square. You're boring, or are you just concerned with your health?
So when did this change for you, and you learn about sleep's important?
When I got into nutrition,
Yeah.
there's not too many people in health and wellness out there that don't combine conversations on good restful sleep with the overall healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you know anybody that doesn't emphasize sleep that's
No.
kind of preaching this stuff?
No. So I got introduced to the book by Matthew Walker,
Yeah, Why We Sleep?
Why We Sleep. And it's like, you can't believe a whole book can be written on sleep, but the health benefits, all of these major diseases that we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
are related to lack of sleep.
Yeah. It could be some user bias. People that are more concerned about the nutrition are probably going to be more concerned about everything in their lifestyle. So I don't want to say that to discredit what we're talking about with sleep, but kind of the way I think about it is, you use your computer, and say you use it, and every time that new program installation thing comes up, and you got to install it and reset your computer, it has to go to sleep for a while, right?
Just
No. Yeah, no. After a while, your computer runs like crap, doesn't it?
It's slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually, you've got to say yes. You've got to download the new software. You've got to reset your computer. So I kind of think about sleep that way, is if you don't take that time to allow your body to update, to reinstall, to refresh. And I'd say another reason I got was reading more about methylation and how your body turns over new cells.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's a lot of catchphrases there, like senescent cells and apoptosis and programmed cell death and things of that nature. But you're using your body all day during the day. Lights out, you're using your body, and I think in the phases where you're actively using your body and your brain and your gut, it doesn't take time to reprocess, to walk around the office or and identify the slow ones, right? Because your body's pretty ruthless. Like, oh, you're slow, you need to die, right? And so it sends a message to that cell. It dies. It regenerates a new one. You feel good. That's how your body, and that's the methylation process, the genetic material turnover, repairing your cells with muscle. So it does that at night. So if you don't give your body that time, how can you be a healthy human?
So here's what I'm hearing you say, and this is kind of how I see sleep, is it's like, let's take a school, for example, okay? All the kids are at school during the day. They're playing, they're running, they're throwing at lunch, they're throwing all the trash and the garbage. They're leaving just trails of mess through that school.
Your kids do that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Mine don't do that.
And then at night, the janitorial staff come in and they mop the floors, they take out the trash, they clean up where the next morning that school's pristine. So our body at night, when we go, like you said, when we go to sleep, it's usually the healing, cleaning up all the garbage in our cells, all the garbage in our neurons, and getting rid of all the toxic waste, where the next day we're ready to go. And so if you don't give it time to do that, what happens?
Things don't function appropriately.
It all builds
and it
up.
all builds up,
All
gets
builds up.
nasty,
Yeah.
gets gunked up.
Also, I learned in that book, we lay down a lot of our memory at night. So everything that we've processed during the day, that our brain sleep basically is starting to imprint all that we've learned that prior day, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think, this new article that came out about Alzheimer's the other day, and it shows up in the retina first, and But the one commonality in dementia patients is they were all pretty poor sleepers,
Yeah.
right? So are you giving your brain the ability to remodel and readjust?
Which, if you look at Alzheimer's, it's material in the neurons that build up over time.
Yeah, because you don't give yourself that time to break
Clean
it
it
all
up.
down, and that's the reason you see higher rates of dementia in shift workers and people that have disrupted sleep, whether it be caregivers or situations like that. I mean, if you've had kids, you know how crappy you feel if you don't sleep.
Yeah, those first 5 years, it's a fog.
Yeah, and I think back on residency, and
It took
there's a
some
lot
years
of
off
it.
my eyes.
Yeah, there's a lot of it I don't remember.
Yeah, it took years off my
You know,
life.
I remembered all the good stuff about operating, but
One thing I was going to point out too, there's been a lot of studies to look at if, comparing, like they did sleep deprivation, and in people, and those that got, minimal sleep, like I'm going to say 6 hours or less, they tend to choose they had poor choices in food. They tend to go toward more processed, sugary type foods. And I would confirm that in residency.
oh yeah, I think we both have our stories.
Yeah, you're on call, you're up 24, 36 hours. You want a greasy, sugary, pancakes.
Oh, dude, we called it the big boy breakfast.
That's what you crave.
Yeah, the triple B.
Yeah, and that's your body. It's interesting that that's what it drives you to.
Yeah.
And so I think it's real important for our patients how we emphasize that we need at least a minimum of 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. I think it's recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Do you sleep 9 hours?
I'm a poor sleeper, so this has been a hard one for me. So here's what I've changed. My family's notorious. Okay, I want to go off on a little rabbit trail.
Okay.
Okay, we're poor sleepers. Okay, my mom and dad both. They wake up very early, but that's genetic. So there's 3 types of people. I heard in that book Matthew Walker breaks this down. There's
Lions, tigers, and bears?
Yeah. So there's people that want to go to bed early and get up early. That's me. There's the opposite. People that want to stay up late and sleep in late. And then there's a category in the middle.
That's me. Stay up late and wake up early.
Okay.
Yeah.
So poor sleepers, I usually naturally wake up at 5 o'clock every morning, sometimes 3 o'clock. That's a bad.
No alarm at 5?
No, I have to on OR days, just to make sure.
Just to make sure you get.
But on
Where's he at?
Saturday, 5:45. I'm gonna be up and ready to go. So I have to go to bed. My ideal time to go to bed is 8:30 to 9.
Yeah.
To get that adequate sleep.
Yeah, I wish I was that way.
What's your sleep look like?
So I've really emphasized sleep over the past 5 years. So, coming out of medical school residency, it was easy to stay up till 11:30, 12, 12:30, and be up at 4:30 and ready to roll. And then some kids came along, and that protected 4 to 5 hours of sleep got disrupted, and it really had to change the way I thought about sleep. So now, I'm trying to head to bed at 9:30, 9:45, and OR days, workout days, I'm up at 5:20. And up until 3 or 4 years ago, and a lot of it, this sleep tracker, the Oura Ring.
About that, which is life-changing.
If I started alternating, right? So used to, when I was in the old pattern, I would wake up at 4:30 no matter what. No alarm, nothing. Like I was up at 4:30. And then I had to, and that was a work ethic drive. That was a studious drive. That was I feel like I was lazy if I wasn't up at that time. And slowly, through a lot of convincing of my own brain and probably some, supplemental help, like with melatonin and glycine and magnesium and inositol, inositol and L-theanine. Now, if there's no pressing need for me to be awake, I can sleep till 8 o'clock. And so now I have to use my alarm now. And I'd say in the last year, I used to feel really embarrassed, disappointed. I felt like I was letting the family down if anybody in the family woke up before I did.
Yeah, same way.
And I recently let that go. And so now frequently on Saturday, the kids are coming in the room. It's 7:30, 8 o'clock. They're like poking you. Thought you were dead, because they're not used to it yet either. I mean, like, oh, Dad slept later than us. Like,
did Hugh do the? This scene cracks me up. In Trolls, remember when the kid runs in there on his dad and he's trying to wake him up? He grabs his chest hair and rips it off.
Yes. What was the day? Troll day? When are they? The solstice. The trollstice. Yeah, it's the trollstice.
Dad.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
We're still young.
Diversion. Complete diversion.
Yeah, we're still young. So sleep is important. How much sleep for each individual person? That's hard to answer. We think if you have some interest in this and you don't know what to look at, sleep trackers. I mean, Fitbit has a certain element. Apple Watches, Oura Ring is probably the most detailed. Whoop bands. But before you get nerdy, just sleep more.
So tell me about your Oura Ring, because I got one of these about a year ago, and to me this changed how I view sleep.
Looking at sleep structure, light sleep, deep sleep, and to me the biggest thing I track is heart rate variability.
Which is what?
So when you're stressed, when you're eating bad, when you're not exercising, when you're not sleeping well, your heart rate doesn't vary, and so at night you sleep, it's 80, clockwork all through the night.
Yeah.
Right. A healthy heart is a very variable. So you're sleeping, it's at 88. You go to a different cycle of sleep, it's at 45. It's at 72. It is floating around. That's a rested
parasympathetic activity, which is our resting part of our system, is working.
Yeah. So basically, as you roll through the 4 or 5, depending on who you talk to, phases of sleep, your heart rate matches it.
Yeah.
And so your deep sleep, dude, it's at like 40. Your light sleep and you're having all those dreams, it's at 85, 90. It's matching what you're dreaming, right? And then it dives back down. So I started looking at that in greater detail, because looking at the sleep structure was actually kind of depressing me. So I actually do hold back on recommending these trackers to type A people, because you start tracking numbers and you're like, my deep sleep's not getting any better. I'm like, calm down. You're fine. You're going to make it worse. So that's what I was trying not to do, because I was not liking my deep sleep numbers and I was focusing on that. And I'm like, well, I've tried all these different things. And it did improve. My average deep sleep was probably 35, 40 minutes. Now I'm probably up to hour 45. The more I sleep, the higher those numbers get. I can hit 3 hours on a weekend of deep sleep. But anyways, heart rate variability became kind of my mantra, because I think that gives more insight to the whole picture. How you're eating, are you moving, are you handling stress? Like it gives you a better picture into it all.
I want to come back to the heart rate variability, because there's some things that can affect that, and we've talked about that.
Alcohol, nicotine.
Yeah, so let's go through that in just a minute. I want, for example, last night, I'm going to bring up my Oura Ring.
Mine's been dead for a couple days. So
I had a pretty bad night last night. Part of it was I went to bed late, and you know why? Because
you ate bad.
No, I was on Twitter,
You told me you gave up Twitter.
Well, I picked it up the past 24 hours. And so it gets me all fired up, and that's not good. So essentially last night, my sleep score was 83. So it gives you
not bad for a bad night.
Not bad. My total sleep was 6 hours and 12 minutes.
Not good.
Not good. I went to bed at 10:07.
That's not too bad.
Now, you can't see this, but I woke up about 3.
Oh, yeah, you were up for like an hour.
I stayed up for an hour.
Uh-oh.
And that's my problem. I ultimately got out of bed at 5:49. Okay. So it took me 7 minutes to go to bed. I got an hour and 32 of REM and an hour and 24 of deep, which are both over 20%.
Yeah.
Just good. Now, my heart rate variability was 57.
Average?
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah. So I do have a good heart rate variability.
Yeah.
So here's what I learned about this, Bo. This is, I think, number one, I always am striving to try to get 7 hours.
Okay.
Okay. So I know I went to bed late last night. I'm going to learn from it because I'm not feeling great today. I'm going to go to bed at 9:30 or sooner tonight because that's the only way I can get over 7 hours of sleep. Okay. The other thing is I've been trying to correct when I wake up during the middle of the night how I can get back to sleep.
What are you doing?
So a few things is just don't let your mind start. I go to checklist and getting things done. I have to stop that. The other thing that I use, there's this thing called New Calm. I put in my AirPods, and basically it's rain. And it has some technology that causes me to go back to sleep.
Okay.
So,
How long have you been using that?
I use it for about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you supplementing anything?
Magnesium.
Yeah. So my new regimen is magnesium, and there's all kinds of magnesiums. Only one specifically designed to help with sleep. And then
BioOptimizer is the one I use.
yeah,
It has
all of them.
like,
Yeah, the magnesium threonate.
Yep.
If I think glycine, which is part of the TMG betaine methylation process. L-theanine, which is the pre-breakdown product of melatonin.
Okay.
So you're not taking melatonin, but taking some L-theanine, and then inositol.
Another one I've heard about is
Xanax?
organic.
I'm just kidding.
Organic greens. Is it organic greens? Organifi
Organifi.
has the gold.
Yeah, the gold powder.
Has turmeric in it. That's
Big doses.
Also really helpful.
Dude, I used to have a great routine using that.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about this today. Like you read and you incorporate and you go away from. I'm like, why do I do that? Because now that you mention it, I'm going to do it tonight.
That stuff works amazing.
Yeah.
It has a lot of different nutrients in it. Turmeric, curcumin, a bunch of different things. Black pepper. It just relaxes you.
Yeah.
Relaxes
Yeah.
you.
And we used to, Shelby and I used to do a lot of just chamomile tea, which I thought worked pretty well on initiating sleep. I didn't think it worked so well on staying asleep. And so that's the reason I added all the other stuff.
What's your thoughts on melatonin?
I'm for it, and I've experimented genetically. Looking at my genetics, I have some things that don't allow me to convert real well. So kind of two things about melatonin. Number one, it's not just about sleep. It's a very powerful anti-inflammatory, but it has to be high doses. So, most people take like 1 milligram of melatonin or 5 milligrams. If you're getting crazy, you take 10 milligrams. Like the first protocol I did was 80 milligrams a night. And nobody told me.
Did you wake up the next morning?
Yes, but I did not feel well. So nobody told me this about melatonin. And I blame the doctor that gave me this recommendation. It wasn't you, by the way. Number one, take melatonin early. Most people don't take melatonin until they're ready to go to bed.
Go to bed.
Well,
You're sitting there laying there.
You got to absorb the stuff.
Yeah.
You got to break it down. The breakdown product's L-theanine. So that's the reason I take L-theanine now instead of melatonin.
Okay.
So melatonin doesn't really affect you. It's what it breaks down to, right? It's how most medications work. So if you're going to take it, it's very effective. Take it at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., not at 11 after you couldn't go to sleep. So you got to take it early. Because if not, you're going to wake up because it doesn't kick in until 2 a.m. And now you're trying to sleep through it when your alarm's going off and you're groggy and you quit taking it because you don't feel good. Yeah. Right? Is that how most people's melatonin experience
100%,
goes?
100%.
And then it's a very potent anti-inflammatory, and it's to me like melatonin is almost like vitamin D. Like it's not just a vitamin. It's not just a supplement to help you sleep. There are so many other things that it does. And there was another point, but I forgot it.
And I look at melatonin as it's our circadian rhythm. It really it should naturally cycle, and
so when would it kick on?
Probably early evening.
As soon as it gets dark.
Yeah. And that's what that's a whole other thing in a lot of these health and wellness books they're talking about is how now a natural light at night, the blue light from phones, it throws off our natural circadian rhythm because of
which throws off your methylation process, which
And
throws off your
your
ability to
sleep.
reboot.
So eliminating those things at night. I throw this to the dark mode. I try to avoid being
Yeah.
on my phone for an hour prior to going to bed. I don't do that naturally,
Mhm.
but definitely don't get on Twitter or anything else. It just riles you up.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's sum it up of all things that I know to do to get good sleep.
and then I want to talk about heart rate variability real quick.
We'll do that first,
Okay.
and then we'll recap.
So heart rate variability, Bo kind of elaborated on how important that is. That's kind of our indicator of stress to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can look at this, my Aura ring, and I can know if I'm having something on my mind for a few weeks, my heart rate variability is 20, 30. When I'm dealing with problems, I'm living or really stress-free as much as possible. I'm up in the 60s, 70s.
I've
And
never
so-
seen a 60.
I got a 67 this weekend.
I don't think I've ever seen anything over 40. Am I dying?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. But I noticed this. What affects my heart rate variability? What puts stress on me at night? Alcohol. It's crazy that you drink one drink before you go to bed.
Yeah.
That will be literally 10 or 15. That would be my heart rate variability.
Yeah. It does that to me too.
But a lot of people think, well, alcohol relaxes me to go to bed.
It
False.
gets you to bed, but
It puts stress on your body.
yeah. And I have a hard time with that because sometimes it's that on the couch bourbon that kicks off the night, as far as winding down.
Yeah.
I think to emphasize that, and this has been my push lately, is most of these guys would say 2.5 to 3 hours of no caloric intake before you lay down.
I think that's important.
Yeah, and that'd be alcohol, that'd be food, that'd be, anything that would rev the body up. So it's not that I'm saying give up alcohol. It's like don't drink it until you go to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's those random party nights where that's probably not going to be avoidable, but on the regular, like try to be done, try to be wrapped up by 6:30, 7.
So I want to emphasize that I have seen so true to form. If I'm eating a big, particularly carbohydrate-rich, sugary meal,
Throw some
30
sweet red
minutes
wine on
before
there.
I'm going to go to bed, and you drink some alcohol, you talk about wreck your sleep.
Oh yeah, horrible.
Yep. So avoid that.
Yeah, and I personally know probably 30 people with these rings, and there's the commonalities. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you wrap
Sleep
it up.
hygiene.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people come in here like, I don't know how to go to sleep early. Right.
Yeah.
So first of all, no TV in your room.
Yeah.
Can't have a TV in your room. I mean, it can be in there, but don't watch it at night, because the bedroom is about sleep, maybe one other thing, but mostly about sleep. I mean, if you think about the time spent in your life, majority of it's sleeping, right? So pour into that. That's your sanctuary. Make it resting, make it relaxing, keep it clean.
Dark.
Yeah. Oh, second thing, dark, no light, period. Right? No night lights. I mean, some people believe in those like salt lamp kind of glow lights. Minimize your phone exposure. If you have to, blue blocking glasses, go dark mode. I think dark mode even puts off
It does.
blue light, but if you triple click your phone, it goes to red mode.
I didn't know.
So it eliminates all blue light.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So it's the filters, the color filters. Some people's phones, if you click it 3 times, it does the emergency call.
Yeah.
So make sure you have it set up to do color filters. If you're still having trouble, look at some kind of supplemental stack. The one I just mentioned is probably the best. Inositol, magnesium, glycine, L-theanate. Melatonin, potentially. I would probably talk to somebody or take our guidance on how to use it. Don't be taking it at 11 p.m. because it's going to make you feel like snot.
I really like the Organifi Gold.
Yeah.
That's kind of an all-encompassing type
Yeah.
thing.
Sleep routine, like, shower, breath work, bed, shower, prayer, bed, shower, something to decompress, roll out on a foam roller.
I read just an actual physical book. Just 10 minutes of that, it puts me to sleep.
Yeah, that's a natural sleep promoter for me. One page in, I always know it's working when I have to reread the same page like 3 times.
It is not good.
You're like, I'm done, forget it. But those are the things, and then not eating. I strive for 2 to 3 hours before I go to sleep.
Keep your bedroom cool. Don't get too hot at night. That's my problem. I get too hot. It wakes me up. Once I'm up, I can't go back to bed.
You got a chili pad?
See, I've not bought one.
That would explain your waking up at 3.
Expensive.
Oh, they make new ones. There's newer, cheaper ones now. The Oolers. I think Chili Pad actually went out of business because they were too expensive. So now those systems that used to be $1,000, $1,200 are like $200, $300. Okay. Not. I'm saying that's still expensive, but when you're talking about prioritizing your sleep, on a 5-year investment, $200 or $300 may be worth it.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
And then also, if you wake up in the middle of the night, that New Calm, that's an expensive app, but I found that to be helpful, or some kind of rain noise or things like that.
Yeah.
Did we cover everything?
I think we got sleep pretty good.